Okay, remembering where we left off last time, Descartes was asking us the question, can we trust the truths of mathematics? It seems like we have to be able to trust that 2 plus 2 equals 4, that the three angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. It seems like we have to be able to trust these things, because remember what Descartes is looking for. He's looking for something that's absolutely true, that he can trust, that he can use to build the rest of his knowledge from, and he thinks he may have found it. Well, let's see what he comes up with to question even the truths of mathematics. And yet, firmly rooted in my mind is the long-standing opinion that there is an omnipotent God who made me the kind of creature that I am. How do I know that he has not brought it about that there is no earth, no sky, no extended thing, no shape, no size, no place, while at the same time ensuring that all these things appear to me to exist just as they do now? So Descartes saying, look, I believe in an all-powerful God. How can I know that this all-powerful God hasn't put me in this sort of phantom universe where everything seems real, but isn't? What's more, since I sometimes believe that others go astray in cases where they think they can have the most perfect knowledge, may I not similarly go wrong every time I add 2 and 3 or count the sides of a square? Or in some even simpler matter, if that's imaginable. But perhaps God would not have allowed me to be deceived in this way, since he is supremely good. So here Descartes pointing out that, look, do I really want to think that it's God that's deceiving me this way? Because after all, I believe that God is supremely good. But if it were inconsistent with his goodness to have created me in such that I am deceived all the time, it would seem equally foreign to his goodness to allow me to be deceived even occasionally. Yet this last assertion cannot be made. So here Descartes pointing out a flaw in his reasoning. If he says, like, well, if it's because of God's goodness, he couldn't build me he couldn't put me in a world where everything seems real but in fact isn't, then why would he allow me to be deceived sometimes? And he certainly does allow me to be deceived sometimes. So what's the difference between these two things here? Perhaps there may be some who would prefer to deny the existence so powerful a God rather than believe that everything else is uncertain. Let us not argue with them, but grant them that everything said about God is a fiction. According to their supposition, then, I've arrived at my present state by fate, or chance, or a continuous chain of events, or by some other means. Yet since deception and error seem to be imperfections, the less powerful they make my original cause, the more likely it is that I am so imperfect as to be deceived all the time. I have no answer to these arguments, but am finally compelled to admit that there is one of my former beliefs about which a doubt may not properly be raised. And this is not a flippant or ill-conceived conclusion, but is based on powerful as well as thought-out reasons. So in future, I must withhold my assent from these former beliefs just as carefully as I would from obvious falsehoods if I want to discover any certainty. Okay? So here Descartes has decided that I have no answer to these arguments, but am finally compelled to admit that there is not one of my former beliefs about which a doubt may not properly be raised. So remember that what Descartes is doing is he's trying to destroy all of his beliefs until he can find one that he can absolutely trust. And where he decided to start, remember, was attacking those most basic beliefs. And when he thought about what these most basic beliefs were, he started with his senses. And then he realized his senses might be deceiving him. And then thought, well, how do I know that this isn't all a dream, right? And then he thought, at least the truths of mathematics. I must be able to trust the truths of mathematics, but maybe God is even deceiving me about those. So he ended up in a place where he can't trust any of his previous beliefs. But it's not enough merely to have noticed this. I must make an effort to remember it.